The Girl in the Garden, a glimpse that stayed forever. A deep romantic story. Some stories don't begin with fireworks. They begin with silence. And sometimes, just one glance is enough to change the direction of your heart. This is the story of Arko, a boy who was always focused on one thing, his career. Arko was brilliant, the kind of man who turned deadlines into dreams. He never missed a goal, never lost his focus. His dedication made him the favorite of his company's top board. One day, the owner's son noticed Arko's charm and sincerity, and slowly, they became good friends. After months of working hard, they decided to take a break. June, just for 3 days. Homestay, a quiet place surrounded by nature. Only an old couple lived there, and sometimes a girl named Vamika came to help them with small things in the garden and house. On the second morning, Arko was sipping tea by the window when he noticed her. A girl in a simple dress, her hair tied back, kneeling in the garden, picking up some fallen leaves. There was nothing dramatic about her arrival. And yet, he couldn't look away. Something about her calmness, her focus, her presence, left a quiet stir in his heart. But she didn't see him. She left quickly, just as silently as she came. That day, Arko kept thinking about her. Who was she? Does she live here? Will she come again? The trip was supposed to end that evening, but Arko told his friend. Let's stay one more day. Just one more. His friend laughed. Looks like Dehradun isn't the only beautiful thing you've seen here. Winking face. But even the next day, she didn't come. And Arko couldn't gather the courage to ask about her. Why? Because even he didn't understand what was happening in his heart. They returned to the city, but something about Arko changed. In between meetings, amid deadlines and boardroom talks, his mind would often drift to that garden. To that one glimpse. To Vamika. Weeks passed, then months. Finally, on a random weekend, he booked another solo trip to Dehradun. Same homestay, same room, same hope. But she wasn't there. He asked no one, he searched nowhere, he just waited. Maybe, just maybe, the universe would bring her back again. But it didn't. Some stories are like that. They begin with one glance, and end in endless thoughts. Vamika didn't know what she left behind that day. But Arko? He carried her, in every unspoken word, in every unanswered thought, in every quiet return to Dehradun. Arko was driving back from Dehradun to his home in Gurgaon when he noticed a small crowd on the roadside. A man lay there, injured and unconscious. Without a second's hesitation, Arko stopped, rushed to him, and gently lifted him into his car. Within minutes, they reached the nearest hospital. Arko hurried to the reception, his voice urgent, please. He needs help immediately. The ward boy nodded. Doctor is coming. And then, she walked in. White coat, steady steps, eyes full of focus, Dr. Vamika Chauhan. She had no idea who Arko was, but the moment he saw her, it felt as if time itself had paused. While Vamika examined the patient, Arko stood nearby, quietly admiring not just her beauty, but the care in her every gesture. When the checkup was over, she turned to him. He's stable now, but he'll need to stay here for the night. Arko hesitated before saying, Ma'am, I don't actually know him. I found him on the road in this condition. I have to leave, but could you please give me a contact number? Just so I can check on him later? At first, Vamika thought of giving the hospital's number. But then she remembered, this man had stayed here for hours for a stranger, and there was a sincerity in his eyes. For reasons she couldn't quite explain, she wrote down her personal number. Arko glanced at it and then asked softly, Ma'am, your name? She replied, Dr. Vamika Chauhan. The sound of her name felt like a melody that warmed his entire being. The next day, Arko returned to the hospital. The injured man was conscious now and thanked Arko with teary eyes. After checking on him, Arko found himself walking toward Vamika's cabin. They spoke, and that's when Arko realized something. I've seen you before, he said. In the garden of that homestay in Dehradun. Vamika smiled, surprised. Ah, I go there often to check on an elderly couple. Their children live abroad, so I keep an eye on their health. That small piece of information opened a door between them. Over the next few weeks, they met more often. Their conversations shifted from casual updates to heartfelt exchanges. Arko admired her simplicity and kindness. Vamika admired his humility and compassion. And somewhere between those quiet moments in the hospital corridors and the unspoken warmth in their eyes, a decision grew in both their hearts. Not just to meet again. Not just to stay in touch. But to walk into the future together. A few months later, under a sky full of stars, Arko held her hand and asked the question their hearts had already answered. And Vamika, smiling through happy tears, said yes. It had started with an accident. But destiny had turned it into a lifetime promise.